So there's a lot out there about how AI is creating more efficiencies. Two things that don't get talked about a lot. First is, what do we do with our time as, the head of the sales department? When your team is getting more and more efficient, how do you help them work with their time? And how does AI help them be more proactive, right? And not just fill the space that we've had there. The second one, you can choose to answer these in any order, is the expectation of value that we are providing to our clients is dramatically changing. The amount of time it takes for us to deliver and the quality of what we deliver is changing, right? And so the expectation of what you're selling and how quickly and the level of quality that they're going to get is changing at the same time. So I apologize. Those are two very separate questions there. I just realized that, right? Proactivity and then perception of time and quality.
Couple of things that come to mind. So one, years and years and years ago, I had a sales coach tell me, you need to focus on the things that only you can do. So when we start thinking about, okay, I'm reclaiming some of this time. I just saved a ton of time. So now what do I do with it? That's the immediate thought that comes to mind. So as I look at my week and as I look at my day, the 80-20 rule applies, right? Most of the time we spend 80% of our time working on things that doesn't really matter, that doesn't really add a ton of value. There's a lot of busy work. And so as I begin looking at systems and process and automations, that's where I would encourage teams to really focus their time. Can I architect a system that allows me to eliminate the busy work, eliminate the things that aren't high payoff or high return? A great example of this, I have 4 agents kind of programmed in my world, and those 4 agents run typically on a Saturday morning because oftentimes I'll pop up here to my office and spend a few minutes drinking my coffee and just kind of recapping the week. And so one of those agents does a pipeline review. So it's literally popping in the system. It's looking at our naming convention. It's looking at all the required fields that should be filled out when we create a deal in the system or an opportunity in the system. And all it's doing is running through everything that was done that week. And then it returns a query that says, hey, out of the 10 deals we created, 7 of them look great. 3 of them have an issue, and here's what it is. And so it's easy for me to then just copy and paste that, send it to the 2 or 3 people that those deals belong to, and we can get those updated. We talked a little bit about self-servicing on call scoring, but as a sales leader, as a manager, one of the things, maybe some of you guys love this, but it's not my favorite thing to do, is to sit down and say, okay, my team made 300 calls last week. I have to, first sift through here and find which one's connected and then look at how long the call went to kind of decide, do I want to listen to it? And then download the recording and then listen for the call and then give them the feedback. And so one of my agents helps me do that. It actually goes through all of our calls. I've programmed it to have some parameters for what we're going to score and what we're going to listen to. And so it'll pull down that transcript. It'll rank them on the call and then give me a summary. It gives me a summary of the call. It gives me a summary of the coaching it provides, and it gives me a link to the call. So if nothing else, I can literally, if I have 5 people on my team and I say I want 3 calls a week, it's still going to give me those 15 calls. I can listen to it. Or I might be able to look at the summary and say, okay, I kind of know what's going on with this account, and this coaching does make sense. The other thing it'll do for me is it'll pre-draft an email to the rep with specific feedback about that call. And so again, from a time standpoint, I'm saving a ton of time, but it doesn't eliminate the human in the loop. It still has me in the loop to now go back and either review the calls or maybe tweak the feedback a little bit. And there's sometimes I look at the feedback and it's not relevant, and I might choose not to send that to that particular person. But that's time I can reinvest to now go work. What I've found is on strategic projects. Maybe there's a new marketing initiative we're kicking off. And so all this time that I spent doing something that was important, call ranking or pipeline reviews as a manager, that's part of my day-to-day job. That's something I should do. But because I've saved all this time, I've got an hour I can now really hyper focus on this new campaign we want to launch. Or I'll spend that time really looking at my other two deliverables from my agents. One is a marketing review and one is the sales review. And so it's literally going in, it's going through all of my dashboards. It's taking all of those data points, facts and figures, and compiling them. And then it's tying it back to the pipeline. And so we're looking at things like meetings completed versus future steps created versus deals created, right? So we're measuring, are we converting what we're building? And then I ask 3 questions at the end of each of those reports. What's working? What's not working? And what should I focus on this week? And so it gives me a bulleted list on all of this data that is available. And yes, I can spend a couple of hours and go through and digest all of it, or I can read the summary. I'm going to date myself a little bit, but it's the cliff notes, right? It's giving me the cliff notes of what's going on in my sales and marketing funnel this week. And then what I often find myself doing is saying, hey, I'd like to have a little more information on that. I want to dig a little bit deeper. Give me those 12 leads that came in from the AI referral source. I want to see what happened. Or, gosh, I didn't realize that deal ended up being closed lost. Now I can go into the system. I can go kind of download and plug in a little bit more. So I think for me, what it's done is it has made me more efficient, but it's given me the right kind of time back. It's given me that ability to really dig in and be focused with where I choose to invest my time. So high value, I guess, is kind of what comes to mind.